Who were the Gracchi brothers? Tiberius Gracchus and Gaius Gracchus were Roman brothers who tried to reform Rome's social and political structure to help the lower classes in the 2nd century BCE. The brothers were politicians who represented the plebs, or commoners, in the Roman government. They were also members of the Populares, a group of progressive activists interested in land reforms to benefit the poor. About the Gracchi family. Tiberius and Gaius came from a distinguished family. Their grandfather, Scipio Africanus, had conquered Hannibal, a great general. Tiberius and Gaius' mother, Cornelia, who was the daughter of Scipio, was a lady of wide culture. Their father, who was also named Tiberius, had embodied many of the older Roman virtues. He was a good soldier and a provincial governor. He had brought a Celtiberian war to a successful end and had established peace there for a generation. After their father's death, Cornelia devoted herself to the education of her children, Tiberius, Gaius, and their elder sister, Sempronia. Tiberius Gracchus works for land reform. When Tiberius was a quaestor or public official in Spain, he saw tremendous imbalance of wealth in the Roman Republic. Very few and wealthy landowners had most of the power, while the majority of the people were landless farmers. He sought to ease this imbalance, proposing that no one would be allowed to hold more than 500 ugra, which is about 125 acres of land. He also proposed that any excess beyond that it would be returned to the government and redistributed to the poor. The Senate was resistant to this proposal because its members owned most of the land and it was the basis of their wealth. Therefore, Tiberius was very unpopular with the senatorial elite. Another unique opportunity arose for redistribution of wealth upon the death of King Attalus III of Pergamum in 133 BCE. When the king left his fortune to the people of Rome, Tiberius proposed using the money to purchase and redistribute land to the poor. With his term coming to an end, Tiberius sought re-election as a tribune for the following year. This was unprecedented, and his opponents claimed that it was illegal and Tiberius was trying to become a tyrant. Tiberius did, in fact, receive enough votes for re-election, but the event led to a violent encounter in the Senate between Tiberius' followers and his opponents. Tiberius was beaten to death with wooden chairs, and nearly 300 of his supporters suffered the same fate. Gaius Gracchus. Tiberius was succeeded by his younger brother, Gaius Gracchus, who was also a social reformer. Following a similar path, he served under Scipio Aemilianus and then was elected consul, in which he spent 2 years governing Sardinia. Returning to Rome, he was elected to 2 consecutive terms as tribune of the plebs in 123 and 122 BCE. Some things that Gaius did for Rome were renew Tiberius' land laws and founded new colonies in Italy and Carthage. He also introduced a law that the enrollment of Romans in the military under the age of 17 would be allowed and that the state would pay for basic military equipment. Before, a soldier had to pay for their own equipment, which was really difficult, especially for the lower class. Gaius also passed a law that provided for the construction of state storehouses and a regular sale of grain to the citizens, as well as feeding the hungry and homelessness with the state's own grain. Despite some support, Gaius was a controversial figure. After one of Gaius' political opponents was killed, the Senate passed a law that made it possible to execute anyone identified as an enemy of the state without trial. Knowing his death was written on stone, Gaius committed suicide by falling on the sword of an enslaved person. After Gaius' death, thousands of his supporters were arrested and summarily executed. Legacy. Beginning with the Gracchi Brothers' troubles to the end of the Roman Republic, personalities dominated Roman republics. Major battles were not fought with foreign powers, but internal civil ones. Violence became a common political tool. Many historians argue that the period of the decline of the Roman Republic began with the Gracchi meeting their bloody ends. There is no doubt that the upshot of the Gracchi Brothers' social reforms included increased violence in the Roman Senate and ongoing and increasing oppression of the poor.